Welcome to this episode of Behind the Sound. My name is RJ. I'm your host. I'm so happy to be here and super excited for this. This artist was here on episode 22 of Behind the Sound. He has toured all over Canada multiple times with Northside Baby, and he has got a fire track out right now called I'd Rather Wait For You. We're going to get into that. He's going to perform it, and he let me rock a verse on it. I'm so excited about this single. Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only J.R. Rhodes in the building. How are you, baby?
I'm doing good. How you doing, bro?
I'm good, man. Welcome back. It's nice to see you back in the booth.
Thank you, man. It's a pleasure to be out here.
What's been up? What's been going on?
Man, life's been good, man. Life's been good. Working on my album, working on new music all the time, traveling, trying to stay active.
Yeah, good. Let's intro this single. This is the first one, which blows my mind. I saw a little clip of this single when he dropped it, and the beats, bro.
Yeah.
The beats. So let me just clarify. This is the first track that you've ever fully produced yourself. Talk to us about that a little bit.
Correct. Yeah, this is the first one. Usually I mix and master my own stuff, but this is the first time I ever produced it, mixed it, mastered, all in my bedroom. This was not even a studio cut. This was made in the bedroom. But that process was really cool to me because I got to experiment in ways I haven't really pushed myself to until I made this song. And around that time when I was making beats and working with different sounds and stuff like that, I was trying to reflect on my early days, what I liked when I was coming up, that early 2000s sound. And I was like, I want to try something like that.
Dope.
And so that led to the birth of Rather Wait For You.
Dope. Is that kind of the production style that you ended up starting with right away? Is that the sound, or are you still kind of getting into your sound?
I'm definitely production-wise still getting into my sound. I think I have a good ear for sound, but it's also hard for me to conceptualize what I want to do really early on because it's like a new learning curve, It's okay, I know how to get this, but I don't know what steps it takes me to get to it or what sound selection I need to get to this sound I want. So it's a learning curve, but it's working out pretty well so far and I'm enjoying it, so.
Man, I'll tell you, I've been producing music for a long time. I started, when I was making beats, I was making 4 beats a night. It took me a long time to get into my own flavor and my own style. And when you told me that was one of the first beats you ever, I couldn't even believe it, man. That sound, your sound and style that you came with on that beat, it's obvious you have a really great ear for music, but it was so well done. It felt super seasoned. I was very impressed with it, man.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate that, man.
Yeah, it's dope. I mean, we should just fucking get into it.
Let's get it, man. Let's do it.
Are you ready to drop this track?
I'm ready, man. I'm ready.
Let's go. This is J.R. Rhodes, live on Behind the Sound with I'd Rather Wait For You, baby. Let's go.
Yeah.
Baby, won't you ride up on me? You can be my guide and show me. I'd rather wait for you.
Yeah.
I'd rather wait for you. Baby, won't you ride up on me? You can be my guide and show me. I'd rather wait for you.
J.R. Rhodes on the beat, live on Behind the Sound, baby.
Wanna slow that shit down, wanna dine. Girl, you so divine, summertime fine. Autumn eyes, when you callin' mine, you show up on time. Get a sign, girl, you know the vibe. You can run my when we like you genuine. Hit for the back when I got my Rolex on. You make that time stop. Get it so deep, put you on your knees, act like you about to find God. Pray for me, baby. I know my mind live under those sidewalks. All the times that I feel I keep it real, think it's a sign. No asking questions, only counting my blessings. I don't wanna be stressing over your love is kinda dumb when you progressing. I don't need no correction, never learning my lesson. Me and you on this road, I'm feeling like we were dancing. Baby, won't you ride up on me? You can be my guide and show me. I'd rather wait for you. I'd rather wait for you. Baby, won't you ride up on me? You can be my guide and show me. I'd rather wait for you.
Check me out right here, baby.
I'd rather wait for you.
I'd rather wait for you. If I can find peace, I wait for decades. Laid the foundation in place. Now what's the next phase? Vex, you making that face. You got that tone again. Bet that I can make you feel safe and make you moan again. Am I on your playlist? Do I have to say this? You're the reason I murked this verse and went and made this. Out of control, your emotions will make you fold. Try to keep it business. Ice cold like Mr. Rhodes. Got that nice whip, nice clothes. My tooth gold, black diamond in my ear. The rarest as usual. Baby, you so right. Never shot for the wrong brand. Rolling on my wrist, smooth like the long hand. Oh.
Baby, won't you ride up on me? You can be my guide and show me. I'd rather wait for you.
J.R. Rhodes, baby.
I'd rather wait for you.
Baby.
Baby, won't you ride up on me? You can be my guide and show me. I'd rather wait for you. I'd rather wait for you.
This is a banger right here. Take you back to the early 2000s, baby. J.R. Rhodes on that production. You fire, man. Live on Behind the Sound.
face.
That shit was so fire.
Come on, man.
That shit was cold, bro.
Come on, man.
That shit was tough.
I'm telling you, I had to restart that verse many times. I was
Man.
like, bro, your verse is too fire on that.
Dude, what you did to that was tough, man.
I appreciate it, man. I appreciate
every
it.
line was
You
clean.
out rap me on that motherfucker though. I'm not gonna lie. I know when I'm out rap, bro, and that's my favorite verse I've heard from you, man. It's
Thank you.
fire. Yeah.
Thank you.
Definitely my favorite beat. You know you're speaking to me when you're talking early 2000s
Yeah, I know,
hip
you
hop
know?
R&B, right?
I came to the right man.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did, man. Thank you, man. And thank you for coming into the studio and rocking that and let me rock that verse on it. I appreciate it, dude.
Hell yeah, man.
So tell me a little bit more about the song. Like, what's it about? How did it come about? We talked about the production a little bit. What's the vibe of the song?
Man, the vibe of the song, honestly, it started off, like I was saying earlier, it just started off with me in my room kind of just playing like, at first I started with the drums, I just wanted to bounce, and then I kind of had this sample that I was pitching around, and I started playing these violins, and I was like, oh, this is coming together. Funny enough, the first melody I came up with was da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Like, it literally felt like that McDonald's, you know, that, you know, ba-da-ba-ba. That's what it felt
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
man. I was
yeah.
like, if that jingle worked, maybe I'll make it into a song.
There you go.
And so it just, baby, won't you ride up on... Like, it just became like, the words kind of just came naturally, and I kind of just made the song about like, it's a little bit of push and pull in a relationship, but like, you're the one that I'm wanting, and I'll wait for that if I need to. And, you know, I just had some fun with the verse and just kind of put it together like that. I try not to overthink it because it just came so naturally. So I was like, I just got to ride that wave of whatever comes to me. I gotta put it out. So
Yeah, it feels like that verse just flowed out of you.
yeah.
You know, sometimes the verses that are fire like that, I don't know if it's the same for you, but the ones that come easy are just like the ones that are so dope. Sometimes you got to work at it, and you work and you work and you work, and then you still might not even end up loving it. And then sometimes something just falls from the skies into your lap, and it just sounds like that. man.
Literally. And it felt like that too, man. I remember even just the first demo cut, the second demo cut, I was like, okay, this is a hit. Like, this is exactly what I wanted.
Yeah.
Just polished it up a little bit. But yeah, like you said, it's just one of those ones that just felt super fluid.
Yeah.
And so just can't overthink those.
I didn't get the McDonald's jingle vibe on it, you know?
Well, I guess
hear
like,
it. I hear it when you explain it.
Yeah.
But you know, some things you hear it and it's like, oh, that's that, right?
Yeah.
It's got its own vibe on
for
it.
sure. And like, I of course didn't want to interpolate it too much, but it was just like funny because I had my MIDI keyboard at home and I was kind of just playing it out on the piano. And I was like, that's kind of when I drew the connection. I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
wait
yeah.
a sec. This is oddly familiar. But obviously I don't think it's anywhere near the same, but I just think it was funny because that was part of the origin story of the song. Man.
Yeah, yeah, it happens to me a lot. You know, you mentioned Philly 5. I've got this singing group, and I've been writing the songs for us. And there's always little things of like, shit, that sounds like the beginning of a Boys to Men verse, because you're inspired and influenced by what you listen to. You know
yeah.
what I mean? And we listen to so much music, and we're just consuming it. And some of the things are coming back from when I was, 9 or 10 years old. It's like, oh shit, that's the Everly Brothers, or like, you know what I mean? Like crazy shit that you don't realize until somebody's like, oh, that sounds familiar, and then you realize that, oh my, okay, I might have pulled that from my memory banks. you know?
And that's the beautiful thing about music, because I feel like everyone's inspired by something or someone else, and at the end of the day, we're all so intertwined in this industry that it's like, it's not a bad thing. I
Yeah.
don't think it's a bad thing to
Yeah.
have those like realizations.
Yeah, and it's also really beautiful if you think about how many notes are in an octave, that you can make so many different things out of that same sound, you know.
Yep.
And Indian music has its own fucking scale.
It's got its own scales,
It's got
man.
its
Like,
own
it's
scale.
crazy,
Like, so
yeah.
there's extra notes to work with. Like,
Yeah.
it's crazy.
Yeah, no, I admire it a lot. That's something I want to venture into, production side.
Yeah.
But it's just like the theory of it, I got to understand a little bit more because I don't want to do it wrong. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I want to go into it and be like, yeah, this is super fly and different, because it is a challenge, working with different scales. So
Yeah, and I mean, it could be the time to revive that kind of flavor too, because early 2000s, you heard a lot of that tabla and Indian influence in beats and instrumentals in hip hop. So maybe it's time for you to bring that back too, baby.
I think that might be, you might be onto something.
So, we talked a little bit about this off camera. You went through a few months of like, you're doing music full time, you've got a part-time gig, but you're grinding it out musically. And you went through a little bit of this, I don't want to say rut, but we go through these ebbs and flows of creativity.
For sure.
What do you think is
and you found yourself rejuvenated in December and kind of working through some ideas with a fresh new start of 2026. What is it that helps you sort of get rejuvenated and stay inspired to like find ways to make music doing what you love,
That's a good question, man. It's difficult to put to words, but I think a lot of it is just trying to stay grounded because, like you said, like it's the ups and downs, ebbs and flows of being a creative where some moments will feel really good. You'll be on a high. You'll get a lot of wins, small wins. It'll be momentum. But naturally, there's going to be some low periods. And in those low periods, it's like, okay, gotta just like stay grounded and remember I'm doing this because I love it. Like if it was about making millions of dollars, I have not done that yet. You know what I mean? So why would I give up where I'm at? And actually recently, I think it was literally just last night, I heard J. Cole. He just put out a song, but he did a little like, I wouldn't even say it was an interview. It was like leaked audio from one of his recording sessions. And he was talking about the passion of the creativity is what really fuels the journey. And he's talking about all of the ups and downs that you come across are natural, but like the people that give up and the people that quit, they don't realize that the dream is within. Like, you know what I mean? Like the dream is not to have millions of dollars. It's to make a living doing what you love. You know what I mean? So I think at times where I'm low, the best thing I could do is just stay grounded and take it slow and naturally come to that rejuvenation. Because when I try to force it, it'll be so spiky. It'll be like, oh, I feel good for an hour, and then it's like not good. It's like a dopamine rush, and then you want it to naturally take over what you're doing and realize like it's a lot about perspective, I feel like.
Yeah. And in music and business, obviously there's a lot of similarities because when you're doing music, you are running a business. And it's very much so, I heard somebody talking about on a pod about the discipline. It's about the discipline of doing something over and over and over and over and over when nobody's watching or listening. And that's the difference between a successful entrepreneur or a successful musician or artist or whatever that is. You have to love it enough that you're going to do it for years, decades maybe, with nobody hearing or listening. And if you would do that anyways, then that's a success in itself because you get to do what you love, You're making dope shit.
Exactly. I think that's actually a very good point. I heard this quote and it was like, your willingness to succeed is determined by how much you're willing to fail.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, I connect so much because I'm like, dude, I've been failing for like 10 years if you think about it. I've been doing this music thing for 10 years and I haven't reached where I'm at. And I'm like, I'm not giving up.
Yeah.
Because I want to succeed. And so it's like 10 years, what's another 10? What's another couple years or, however long it takes to get to where I want to be. So same thing with business. Like you have to be willing to fail to succeed. And you have to be willing to do the things when no one's watching to actually really prevail. So,
man, I wouldn't call what you're doing failing.
Well, I'll say failing. I wouldn't call it a failure either. Maybe I should specify that. But in terms of where I want to be, if I said I'm where I want to be, I'd be lying.
Yeah.
I want to keep going and keep going further. So it's like, I don't mean failure like I'm doing it wrong or I'm like, giving up. It's one of those things where I just got to keep progressing.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I feel like from what I see, you're doing a lot of things right. And, you're having successes. You're going on tours. You and Northside Baby are touring all over Canada. Mm-hmm. Kids are going crazy for that shit.
That's my bro.
What is that like, man? Tell us about the tours. Give us the breakdown.
The tours are amazing, man. It showed me so much of the world and so much of Canada that I never would have seen before. Mm-hmm. And it's just like a crazy thought because obviously we're going into the major cities, the Torontos, the Winnipegs, stuff like that. But the most impactful stuff comes when we're going into the small towns, the reservations where there's maybe less than 1,000 people,
right?
Maybe a couple thousand, and they're still showing up, bro.
Right.
And they're still knowing the words because the way we looked at it was if no one else is going to go there, we're going to go there and we're going to give them a good time because they deserve it just as much as everyone else deserves it. And I think like by doing that, it's created this ecosystem of like these kids that I don't want to say admire, but they're so excited when they see us perform because most of them, it's their first concert and it's their first time like seeing, like these rappers, these artists are coming to us. We don't have to go to the big city to see this. And so I think by doing that, we've created like a community within ourselves. Because when I was young, I didn't get to go to concerts really. I think I went to my first concert when I was like 17 years old.
Oh, wow. What was it?
It was Macklemore. It was my first concert ever. Macklemore at the Shaw Conference Center. Let me tell you.
Wow.
Maybe I was like 16 years old. My sister took me. I
didn't even know Macklemore was here.
Yeah, let me tell you. Super random. It was after that thrift shop era.
Yeah.
It was after that. Like it wasn't right off of that album. It was like a little bit after that album.
So he was a monster already then.
He was, I know. Yeah. He was at the peak of his success. I don't remember what album he dropped after that, after The Heist or whatever that first album was.
Yeah.
But I think it was the second album.
Okay.
That he went on tour with.
Okay, dope.
So.
Dope.
Yeah, first concert ever. Anyways, but yeah, I was like, I was a teenager, young adult kind of vibe, and I didn't really see a concert till then.
Yeah.
So then I'm seeing these kids that are like 7, 8 years old, super impressionable, super excited. This is cool to them. Like they've never seen this before, and they're just there having a good time unbiasedly. Nobody's like, worrying about looking cool. It's just like they're just having fun. And I think like that high of seeing all those people just enjoying themselves translated into just like a snowball effect of not just confidence on myself and my bro, but just like a movement of like, if artists are willing to do that, we got to support each other. And so that's kind of just what it became in like 2024, 2025. And hopefully we're going to tap back into that for this year now that we're kind of rejuvenated. But yeah, that's a big part of it, man.
It's almost like those smaller communities deserve it more.
Yeah.
It's like the Torontos, the Vancouvers, they get that stuff. But these small communities that you've been able to go into and provide this kind of entertainment and excitement for these kids is phenomenal. What does it feel like to have that impact and have a 12-year-old in some random small 1,000-person community singing your music?
It's crazy, bro. It's crazy because people might look at things like social media, follower count, stream count, monthly listeners, stuff like that, and say, oh, he's not that big, or, whatever, he's still on it. But then they don't realize that there's real people. Like there's a difference between online stuff and real people. And I think that's what being in these small reservations and small towns and small cities have taught me, is that it doesn't matter about the numbers. It matters about the people. And if there's 10 people or 20 people, 100 people in this small community, and in this community, and that community, and this community, that's enough for me. And that's enough for a lot of artists to survive off of. And like, I don't want to say survive off of, like that's the minimum, but I mean like you could create a career off of that kind of structure. And that's kind of the intent behind it, is if we could go into these places and we could inspire a couple people, and we're almost like role models because we understand we're dealing with youth a lot. And so we have to, behave in a way that if I was young, or even if it was my kid or like something like that, I would want them to see these artists, these rappers, and be like, they're doing what they're doing. They're coming into the community, but they're also, a role model. They're respectful, and they're learning and they're teaching, because there's so much that goes on that one inspired mind, or in the contrary, one tainted mind, can affect so much in a community like that. So you have to be very careful, and you have to be very like diligent with how you're talking to people. It's probably the coolest thing ever, going into places like that, places I've never heard of, places I've never thought I'd ever go to. And even if 1 or 2 or 3 people know the words, it's like, wow,
crazy.
This is crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. So. And there was a time not too long ago where that face-to-face in-person show was the only way you built your fan base. You had to go out and perform, and nothing gets you seasoned like 100 shows in front of real people,
Yeah.
Like you can make vids and songs in your bedroom all day. If you don't have that experience of rapping in front of somebody and making them feel your verse, that's something else. That counts way more than a 10-second view. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And I think that's where a lot of the discrepancy happens with a lot of these artists, because they feel like it's one or the other.
Yeah.
But really it's both.
Yeah.
And really the in-person stuff is, in my opinion, more important, because that's where you're actually making connection and community. And that's where actual real life monetization can happen too.
100%. I like that.
Because the online stuff, man, it's cool. It looks cool. It's perception, though. People can fabricate a lot of these things online.
Word.
And I've seen it all the time. I've seen artists that I know. I've seen peers I know. I've seen people on the other side of the world do the same thing, where they think the illusion of having all these numbers and streams and followers is going to make them a career, but really it doesn't.
Yeah.
And that's like the harsh reality of this industry. Is I know people that have been on the Complex, the biggest blogs, the Forbes, the whatever it is. That's not going to make your career.
Right.
All this social media stuff's not going to make your career. It's the people that are going to make your career. So I think by focusing on the people, it's setting me up in a position where I could create real longevity, hopefully.
I love that, man. That's a great point. In all the shows that you've done, and now you're getting into the production, I would say, early in your musical journey in your career, what do you think is the biggest lesson that you've learned making music or performing in front of an audience?
The biggest lesson, I think, would be like to keep it me and to not chase what I think will work. Like, for example, when I came off a tour and stuff like that, there's times where I was like, creating demos, and I'm creating these demos because I'm like, oh, this will work with the crowd.
Right.
But then at the same time, I'm like, it's not me. Like, it doesn't feel like me. It's not giving me, and it doesn't feel authentic. And I think coming to that realization and distinguishing the two is probably the biggest lesson I've learned, because as much as you could chase the highs and it might work, to actually like I've been saying, to create longevity, I feel like for myself, it's the authenticity that's going to take me where I want to go. And that's something that, win or lose, I got to keep at the forefront of what I'm doing.
So what you're saying is, instead of chasing the audience, do you be authentically you and let the audience find you?
Exactly. Like, it might be a slower route, it might be a harder route. It might not win it over as many people at the shows, but the people it'll win over are the people I want to win over. So
Word. Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are the fans that are going to stay with you.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Of all the different, with social media, in-person shows, all these type of avenues that you can get your music out these days, and you're very good at creating content and shooting your stuff and working with other videographers and putting out really good-looking, high-quality, polished sound and video. Can you pinpoint anything or mention anything that was a super unique strategy for you that you tried to like either market a song or market something you're doing through a video, something super unique that you didn't think would necessarily work and it did work?
Yeah, I think what worked the best so far is like vlog style content.
Yeah.
And it's like probably the most uncomfortable for me to make.
Yeah.
Because it's so raw. It's like I'm not wearing the nicest things. I'm not like, my hair's not done. My eyebrows aren't done. Whatever it is, it's like, it's just so raw and just talking to the camera. And I noticed that works the best. For example, I did a video of how I made the beat for Rather Wait For You. And it was just me.
It's dope.
In the studio, just put the camera up. And it's such a raw cut video. Like, I'm literally just holding the camera, showing my screen.
Yeah.
And I realized that it doesn't need to be perfect or polished for the message to come across. And I think like just more raw and authentic versus polished actually works better, in my opinion. Like, for example, we shot a bunch of dope videos for Rather Wait For You. We went to the vinyl store. We did some stuff in my home. And we did all these nice, high quality, polished videos. And I think in comparison to just me and the phone, talking to the camera, whatever it is, natural stuff, I think the natural stuff worked better.
Yeah.
And it's like one of those weird things where it's like, man, for social media, like I want to have all these nice polished things. I want them to see me as this type of artist. But at the end of the day, like what's working is just being that guy that's hustling to make a career at doing what he loves. And I think people understand that. But I think there's a middle ground that I'm still finding.
Yeah. You need both.
You need both.
You need both. Yeah.
For sure. And that middle ground is a little bit tough to get to because it's like you want to dip your toes too far deep into either or.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a middle ground, and that's probably the most impactful form.
I like that. I watched that whole motherfucker of you making that beat.
Yeah.
It's true, right? It's like you need both, and we love as creators making really high quality stuff as we can.
Yeah.
But it's not always what everybody wants to see. People want that inside scoop, that window into you as an artist in your bedroom making that beat, and they don't care if it's on an iPhone or an A7S III. They don't care. And my 12-year-old kid has his own YouTube channel, and like the more blurry and stupid the video is, like the more views it gets, It's crazy.
And it's funny because like I'm sure you relate to this, man. I relate to it in the music side of things. It's like you stress so hard and you learn so much and you get the equipment you save up over the years to get the nicest stuff to make the best quality product. And it's like that's not even what's doing the most for my career right now. And it's just like a funny loop. I feel like any industry can relate to that. But yeah, I know you'd feel that one too, man.
Yeah. Well, it's just like we're swinging back the other way. I feel like we went through this era of creators really were able to take it on their own. All these prosumer tools became more readily available and more affordable for people to create high quality stuff. And then we saw this rise of like, wow, people are creating such good stuff. You don't need a $80,000 video crew anymore. You can make this with $1,500, And so there was this upswing of this really high quality stuff. And now it's like everything was so polished. And then what was unique and what was different was the unpolished stuff all of a sudden.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I feel like the people are coming to that realization the same way we are of like, it's not always about the polished material.
Right.
It's about what's relatable.
Yeah. I mean, it's so funny. I've been in video production for like 18 years now. Of all of the cool sort of TV commercials, music videos, things I've spent months in pre-production, shooting, and post-production, the people want to see my iPhone video of me pranking my mom. Like that shit blows up. And I'm getting like, a few thousand views on this like video I spent all my time creating, It's like, it's funny. And sometimes you never really know what's going to hit. And sometimes there's been things that I don't know if it's the same for you, but it's like, man, this video's dope to me. It's like, so, and it doesn't hit, for other people. So but the market will tell you,
Yeah. I think that's also like part of the frustration and part of like the ups and downs as an artist, because it's like some things you think are so good and you might spend so much time on might just not resonate with the people the way you want them to. And it's tough because we're in this world of like not knowing if we're fighting an algorithm or if it's just genuinely not what people want.
Yeah.
And so it's like, I know I struggle with that because it's like, I'll put a song out. And for example, I have this song called Last Chance that I put out last year, almost around this time. It was on Valentine's Day last year. And I had no budget for that. Not even, the cover art, it was a still from a video that I took on my tripod. I just filmed. I had no reels, I didn't even post an Instagram post for that song. Like, it was literally just like such a raw song to me. I was like, man, I don't even know what to film. Like, I just want to leave it. And it ended up just doing so well.
Yeah.
On like Spotify algorithms and stuff like that. And I'm like, why is it doing well? Like, obviously I'm glad it's doing well. I love this song.
Yeah.
Probably one of my favorite songs. But it's like, how is this doing well when I'm trying the least?
Yeah.
And that's what is like the tough thing.
And that's like, almost it. That's almost the answer, right?
And it's like, rather wait for you. I'm like, I love this song. I'm putting my all into this song. I'm filming all these videos. And it's like, it's doing just as good as the song that had nothing.
Yeah.
So I'm like, how do I understand this? Like, what do I learn from this?
Right. What lessons can I learn to move forward and grow, like for the next time? Because sometimes you just don't know. I think you just put your best foot forward, you know? Like you said, doing you, being authentically, I think you answered your own question. It's like you didn't try. And that's what resonated, because it was like, when you don't try, you're doing you. It's natural, it's real. And for some reason, people just smell that shit. You know?
I honestly think for all like the creators, the content creators, the musicians, whatever you are, like I think that's the lesson you have to take, is trying to give off this polished and well put together and like well thought out plan isn't always the right thing to do. I think like just giving them what feels best will work out. And I think Last Chance was a good example of that. But it's like, you never know, man.
Yeah.
You never know.
You never know. So what does 2026 look like for you? What is ahead? What kind of releases are coming in like a big picture thing? What is J.R. Rhodes focusing on and helping grow your career this year?
I guess in a big picture sense, I feel like the last 2 years I've been fighting off this thought, and maybe this is not even a conversation we should do live, but I've been fighting off this thought of independence versus signed.
Yeah.
You know, when we were on tour, we're independent artists. We're like, man, we're making money. We're traveling. We're making fans. We're doing this independently. It was like a nice hustle. It was like, yeah. And then I was like so locked in on that mindset of we could do this on our own. We're doing this independently. We could release whenever we want to, and it's been working. The people love it. And now kind of going into 2026, I'm like, okay, well, I could take that, and why don't I still shop it around? Because obviously I still want to do this independent, but now I have the leverage of I did all these things, and I can do all these things. I can do shows, and I can make songs that are streaming well and doing well and resonating with the audience. So why don't I take that and try to sell that to the labels? And because now they have these things called distribution deals that are way more common now than a full artist development deal, because nowadays the labels, they want to sell. They don't want to develop as much, right? So now they're like, okay, well, if you have a product that's ready to go out, we can help you. We'll take our cut, whatever it is, but you still have the creative control to do what you need to do. We'll just, distribute it and, push it out to whatever we can. And I think that's the best way for a lot of artists right now, because it still keeps your independence. It still keeps your creative control. It allows you to keep dropping whenever you want to drop. But the ones that you're pitching to the label, which what I'm hoping to do is release a project under a label and have that distributed out through them and just continue to do what I'm doing and like shopping myself around. I feel like for the past 2 years, I've been working my ass off, and now I'm in a point where I have all this leverage and I have this credibility and I have this, that, and whatever. I have value to them now. And I feel like before maybe it was premature, but now it's like, okay, I think that's for this year. That's probably one of my goals, is to do that. I had an album that I wanted to put out this past summer, 2025. All the songs were finished. Everything was ready. And I was like, man, it doesn't feel right, man. It doesn't feel like I'm involved in it. It doesn't feel like I'm emotionally attached. Because my previous one, Color of Your Aura, I was so attached.
Yeah.
Every idea was so thought out. The storyline all made sense to me. And this time around, I was like, it's like not there emotionally. So I kind of scrapped it. But I think for this year, I'm gonna rework that project and just give it to y'all, because it's been like something I've been wanting to do. I've been doing singles every single month for the last like year and a bit. And it's like, I want to give you guys a project of just exactly what I'm feeling.
Was the one you're talking about, Aura, is that your first one, that like your first full album you released?
I would say so, man. I feel like the word album is such a weird word to use in the independent space, because it's like I treated it like a mixtape or like, like just like a body of work. But then I feel like there's so much weight in an album compared to a mixtape for some reason.
Yeah.
I feel like people look at it differently.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it is an album. And what I'm planning to release this year would technically be the follow-up to that. It would contain the same themes and storyline. It would just make it bigger and better and more present for sure. So
Right. It's almost like people talk about this all the time as artists, is that like you pour so much into that first project, and it's 22 years, for example, of stories and emotions and everything. And then your next project is like a year and a half.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you kind of reset, you have a second go at it, and it's tough sometimes to kind of stay inspired and find that same energy, whether it's a follow-up album or a sequel to a movie. It's like, man, you almost got to treat it like its own thing. You can't sort of compare it to
Right.
that first one, you know?
Right. And I feel like there's so many artists, a lot of my favorite artists that have gone through that and have experienced the mental battle
Yeah.
of the second album not being loved as much as the first.
Word.
And it's like, there is a lot of weight to that. And I think as a creative, that's the last thing you want to face is people not liking it or comparing it. But I think what a lot of the greats do, like the Drakes, the Russ, the people that are here, that have been here for 10 plus years, they do a really good job of making their projects present.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, last album I was talking about this, but this time around I'm talking about this because this is right now.
Right.
And then in 2 years, I'm talking about this right now because it's
Right.
2 years later. You know what I mean? Like, and I think they adapt with the times. And I had a conversation actually about this very thing to a buddy about a couple days ago. And I was talking about, we're from Alberta. And, people always talk about Toronto. They have the music culture. They got the Drake, the Weeknd, Tory Lanez, all these big artists coming out of Toronto and Ontario in general. But then when you look at Alberta, we don't really have that yet. People think it's like a bad thing. And I'm like, it is in a sense of like, we don't have a culture necessarily instilled in us, but it also gives us adaptability because we don't have to be put in a box. Whereas other cultures and other cities, Atlanta, those other places, there is a sound that comes out of there. And if you don't fit in that sound, you're kind of an outcast. And if you're outcast, you might not be supported by the community. And it kind of goes down this whole thing. But in Alberta, we have this opportunity where we don't really have that infrastructure or that culture. So as artists, being adaptable and being flexible and being versatile is actually our strength. And I think that's why we're seeing a lot of artists experiment, but also find success experimenting and trying different things because we don't have to confide into one thing.
Right.
And so I think that's what's working. And I think for a project and for music, it gives us the freedom to do what we want to do creatively.
Yeah. I think it's also a competitive advantage to have less competition.
Yeah.
And the world is so small now that it doesn't matter as much. You can be in a bedroom in nowhere, in the middle of nowhere, and be making dope shit that the world can still hear with the push of a button. It's not like you are in Edmonton and you need to move to Toronto or LA or Vancouver to work on music or to make things happen, or even to find a music studio that you want to work with.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you can build that shit yourself. And I think I agree. That's a real competitive advantage. Going back to what you're saying, like doing you, like you as an artist, I feel like you still rep where you come from. You still rep that, yeah, we're in Alberta. It's cold. Like I talk about the snow a lot in a lot of verses because that's what we know. I'm not talking about palm trees and gang banging and trying to do something that some artist is doing in LA. I think as long as you're repping where you're from as authentically as you can, the world will vibe with that. And Edmonton's a vibe.
Yeah, man. I think that's a good point you bring up, bro, because the world is so small. People from all over the world connect through music. And it's funny because as a kid from Edmonton, I grew up listening to Nas and J. Cole's and all these people from different parts of the world, different parts of North America especially. And it's like, as much as we're so similar, like each story is so different.
Yeah.
And it's the way you tell the story that people will attach to you. And I think you can make, like you said, you can make a good career out of your bedroom, out of your home without needing to leave the way you used to have to.
100%. I just watched that documentary about Milli Vanilli. Have you seen that?
I have not, no.
You know who Milli Vanilli is, though,
yeah.
right? Milli Vanilli built this career that exploded, and they lip synced the whole thing. They lip synced we're just talking about doing you and authentically you, but they weren't good enough singers that the producer didn't want to let them sing. But he saw something in their look and their style and their flavor and their dancing that he thought he could produce something that would work. And he did it. And he did it before with Boney M. He did the same thing where he was making the music and they were lip syncing on stage the whole time. It's unfortunate that Milli Vanilli were the ones who took the fall for that. But you think about the machine of, we're talking about record labels and the industry that really, Milli Vanilli's nothing without somebody putting them on, without somebody producing them, without that big machine getting it out there. And Arista didn't take the fall for that. Clive Davis didn't take the fall for that. They knew that they weren't singing. They weren't even in the song credits, you know? Anyways, I don't know why. It was just crazy to me. It's a documentary. You got to go watch it. Man.
Okay.
It's crazy.
What is it on?
It's called Milli Vanilli. It's on Paramount.
On Paramount.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
interesting. I didn't know they did a doc on that.
Yeah.
But I think it is important to understand the culture that we came from, you know, the music culture of what it used to look like and what used to happen and what used to go on. So
Yeah.
that is cool. Yeah, definitely check that out.
Just to wrap up here, man, I appreciate you coming back on the show. It's always dope sitting and chatting with you. If you could give one piece of advice to other young artists and up-and-coming musicians and producers, what would you want to say to them?
Man, I would just say go for it and don't let anyone tell you no. Don't let anyone tell you an idea is bad, but you just gotta chase your dream, bro. I think it'll take time in this industry we're living in, but like I said earlier in the show, your willingness to succeed depends on how much you're willing to fail, how many nights you're willing to spend alone, how many nights you're willing to stay in and not go out, how many nights you're willing to record that same line over and over again. I think the determination that you have as an artist, as an individual, will carry your career, and you have to realize that's your strength. Being you and telling whatever story you come from and whatever authentic, you know, whatever your upbringing is, it's different than anybody else's. And that's your advantage in this game. And that's what's going to carry you into a career in this industry. So I would just say, just stay true to yourself and just keep pushing and don't let anybody say, nah, that's not a good idea, because the craziest ideas have turned out to be brilliant ideas. So
That's good advice, bro. I appreciate you, man. Thank you for coming through.
thank you for having me, man. It's always a pleasure.
I'd Rather Wait for You is a banger.
Thank
Make
you.
sure you go check out that single by J.R. Rhodes, available everywhere. The live version that we just performed on the show is also available live on Behind the Sound. J.R. Rhodes in the building,
Yes,
baby.
sir. Thank you, bro.
Appreciate
Thank
you, man.